friends. Today we're going to tackle danger brain. If we start with Dan Siegel's hand model of the brain, where your hand, if you put your thumb in, this is your brain stem, this is your limbic system, and this is your prefrontal cortex. And Dan Siegel says if your lid is flipped, you are in danger brain, so to speak. So then here is the middle prefrontal cortex if you put a marble right here on your thumb. So that marble is safe brain or secure attachment. So today we're going to talk about danger brain in depth. Why? Because 8 times a second it asks if we're safe or not. And so with that thought in mind, we need to recognize danger brain for what it is. It's really a protective friend that sometimes can be overprotective and annoying. However, we need it to stay safe. We have used it throughout our entire human history to stay safe. And so sometimes it overreacts, and we're here to talk about the ways that it can. Imagine a grid, and the two reactive styles of danger brain are fight, and the other is freeze. So they're opposites on the grid. So the reactive danger brain states are fight or freeze. The core danger brain states are flight or fix and fawn. So those are opposites on that same grid. So we have a grid, imagine a grid, we have the reactive styles, we have the core styles, and in the middle is safe brain or secure attachment. I have adapted this grid from Terry Real, who is a internationally known therapist. He created relational life therapy, and he created this relational life grid that's similar to mine, but I took today's neuroscience and I also took attachment and I plotted it because I want to talk about the strengths and the challenges of danger brain because, again, we need it. We can't live without it. So today I was going to talk about the reactive danger brain state of fight. Now, we all know what being angry feels like. And if we take a look at our feelings, and this comes from nonviolent communication, sometimes it's called compassionate communication. If we take all of our feelings and just acknowledge that our feelings just are, we don't need to change them, we don't need to alter them, they just are. They point to needs that are met or not met. And so when we acknowledge our feelings, we can work with them. The most important way to work with them is to reduce the intensity of the feeling. And sometimes we need to do that by taking a break. So one of the most challenging feelings that I think human beings have is anger. Sometimes anger is encouraged and sometimes anger is punished. And so if we look at anger as a way to indicate that our needs are met or not met, we can start to pick that reactive style of fight apart. One of the least taught aspects of our growing up is our value development, which happens between the ages of 9 and 15. We are sorting through values and trying to land on the values that fit for us, which is why middle school can be such a challenge sometimes because we're all sorting through our values at the same time. And subconsciously we're saying, oh, will our parents still love us if we have the same values? Or even consciously saying, will our friends still like us if we have if we have different values? Will our parents like us if we don't have the same values that they have? So it's a really difficult time that requires some sorting to happen. And we have all kinds of literature in middle school that talks to all the different kind of values we have. We might have characters who have bravery as a value or competence as a value or loyalty or friendship. And so there's literature out there sort of under the surface saying, hey, we're sorting through values at this time of life, but we don't really name it. And we really have to name things to tame things. And Einstein said, if you can't explain things simply, you don't know them well enough. So values are really important in the reactive danger brain state of fight, because we need to go back to our core values over and over again. And we need to access safe brain enough so that we have intuition telling us what's safe and not safe. And we also hold on to our morality. Those people in danger brain too often, too much of the time, don't have those safe brain characteristics. Remember the marble? That include secure attachment and intuition and morality. So as we explore the reactive style of fight, sometimes we're fighting to get our needs met. Sometimes we're fighting because we're unheard or we feel like things are unjust. And sometimes we're fighting out of loyalty or for a cause. And it's important to examine what the fighting is about. We may have needs that are unmet. Now, if we have needs that are unmet, we can think about different strategies to meet those needs. So let's say, an easy example, I want to take a walk with my spouse and my spouse is not available. Well, my strategy was to walk with my spouse and my spouse isn't available. So what do we need to do? We can either get mad and say, oh, you're never around when I need you to be around, or we can think of a different strategy. So if I say, oh, I'm going to put my earphones in and go for a walk with music, I've thought of a different strategy. And so sometimes when we're not heard, we're not getting our needs met, we can think of multiple strategies and brainstorm them so that it's not as difficult for us to move forward out of our anger and into safe brain again. Sometimes we need a break. Sometimes we need to ask for things that we haven't asked for, and we're fighting for the relationship to stay alive. So we're fighting for connection. So all of those types of aspects of fight are worth exploring. Another aspect of the danger brain style of fight is expectations. Now, my emotional knowings and my life experiences may have led me to certain expectations, and other people's life experiences and their own emotional knowings may have brought a different set of expectations. So when we are stuck on our own expectations, that can also lead us to be in a danger brain style of fight. So one of the hardest things to do is one of the hardest things that I did was examine my own expectations for things. Why am I expecting this? Why am I expecting fairness? Why am I expecting justice in this situation? And sometimes I might be right or correct or relying on my safe brain morality to determine if something is right or correct. And sometimes my expectations might be unreasonable or undoable for someone else. And then I have a choice. If my expectations are reasonable and someone is choosing not to do them, I may need to make really hard decisions about the relationship and move forward that way. So as you can see, the reactive danger brain state of fight is very important to examine for ourselves. And oftentimes we have this righteous indignation, like somebody else should be doing this for me. Somebody else needs to solve this problem. Most of what I talked about today, my friends, was us looking at ourselves. What do we need? What needs aren't getting met? How can we meet them? What values do we have that support the need? And what expectations do I have that that I want to make sure that others follow. So take care, my friends. Have a good day. Put your comments in so that I can add another video if you'd like clarification on more of the specific aspects of what I talked about today. Lean into safe brain, breathe, move, focus, and ground. Bye-bye.